Hey guys, what is up? Today, for a Gundam review, I'm going to be taking a look at the real grade Gundam Wing. This is... I haven't built a whole lot of real grades. Built maybe a total of 3, 4. I just don't... I built a total of 5 real grades. 2 of them are currently in boxes because they were the early real grades. My first venture into the real grade line was with the high nip. And I honestly was told that it would get 0% better. So, this, as well as the 2.0 and the Force Impulse, has proven me wrong that the real grades can get better. But let's go ahead and get this guy into mobile suit mode and out of his bird mode, and so we can take a look at it. So here we have him in mobile suit mode, and there are quite a few aspects about this I do like. And I do have all the decals on him. They are your standard typical sticker style. So, if you don't like sticker style decals, then that will suck. I have no issue with them. Never have. So, but I know each person is different. So, but no. It was an enjoyable build so I can't fault this for anything that it does. It was fun, it was intuitive, and it still gave me a good aspect of what the real grade line is supposed to be. You do still have one of the runners is the pre-molded inner frame, and that is the part that hooks the backpack up here. These two hinges right here are the pre-molded inner frame, and they're not bad. So, aesthetics-wise, it is definitely different than most Gundams I've seen. The yellow, the red, not your typical, really, placement of any of these colors. So, it's nice to have some mix-up every now and then of, mobile suit colors. So let's do a few size comparisons with a couple other real grades, just to give you a sense of what it would look like in your collection. We have the real grade Force Impulse Spec 2, and I don't know how well it comes off on camera, but the Force Impulse is definitely a slight bit bigger, but they do look good together, in my opinion. Here we have it with the real grade Banshee Norn, which I was able to fix. If you have not seen that review, I will put a link to it down in... Not review. If you've not seen the link to that build, that fix-it build that I posted, I do recommend that, especially if you have had a version of your unicorn break and you just cannot afford the replacement parts. I did show how to fix it on a build, on a review, kind of, not really, but, it is what it is. And here we have it next to the real grade 2.0. And mine doesn't look like the normal one because I have the real grade sword and launcher striker pack equipped to it because I actually like the look of it and like the idea of what if it could use those striker packs. So, but no, aesthetics and build-wise, it was definitely enjoyable. And it definitely gave me much more sense than the real grade Freedom did. So, he does not include any, opening cockpit unless I'm missing it somewhere. I tried, pulling out, and it just, nothing in the chest opens up. So, but the cameras, both the head cameras, are color separated, and I did not put the head cameras on there. The eyes are not, which does kind of suck, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. The camera in here on the shield I put the sticker on it just for this review because it was a little hard to see. And so is the camera on the beam rifle. So, speaking of accessories, you do get a beam rifle. Or I think it's the Buster rifle. I might be wrong. You get its shield. We'll get into that here in a minute. A holding hand and beam saber hand. I just have the beam saber in there to make it a little easier to find. 2 beam effects, and then 2 open hands, 2 fists you currently see on it, a trigger finger hand, and a holding hand. And the holding hand and the trigger finger hand look oddly close. But you can tell that the index finger is slightly bigger. So let's get down to accessories. First thing we'll do is show you different hands equipped. So there's it with the fists, and I do like the way the hands work. You have almost like a double ball joint locking. You got the first one, which has the hand stick out a little bit, and then the actual connection would get it flush to the mobile suit. This connection isn't super solid if you have it just folded in once, but there you have it there, and just throw it into a brief, quick pose. Give you a bit of a... That's kind of what it would look like with that hand equipped. And you have 2 holding hands for the beam saber, and we'll go ahead and get that equipped. It's just your simple sandwich type hands with the tab. Beam saber plugs in like that. There's kind of a quick pose there. Really nice. When not in use, just remove the hand. Pop the beam saber out. Remove the beam saber handle. See? Just a sandwich style with the peg. And it will pop right in the shield. You got a tab on the inside of there that will just go with the beam saber. If I can get it in there. It is kind of difficult at times, and there it goes. And does like to fall apart. At least my copy. So go ahead and get that reassembled real quickly, because it doesn't take very long at all. Speaking of the shield, it does have that gimmick right there. On my copy, it's very loose. Like, it's got a tab there, but like, the simplest thing knocks it down. Of course, it doesn't want to work now, but it takes very little to get it to, well, I might get it to do it on camera. See, just the slightest movement will break it. Or not break it per se, but get it to fail. And that does kind of suck. But it is what it is. That could probably be fixed. I'm just not too big on it. You also do have this is the part that goes onto the arm. You got a hinge and a rotation. You got a peg on the back of the arm. Like so. The shield just pops in there. If I can get it in there. And there you go. Now you have him equipped with the shield. Very, very nice. Nowhere to put it if it's not being used. And finally, the Buster Rifle. There are quite a few nice moving parts on this. You got a moving handle, but that's mainly for its transformation. You also can pull this out to eject its... I'm assuming those are its ammo cartridges. I've never watched Gundam Wing. But to get it in the hand, it's just simple. Pop off the fingers. Plug it into the hand. Put the fingers back on, and there you go. There's it in a simple pose with the beam rifle. Really nice. Quite enjoyable. And really fun to do. So, and you also get an action base adapter. But more on that later. So, we've gone over posability and everything, so I think now it's time to, we've gone over size comparisons, so now I think it's time to get into posability. And for this part, we'll remove the backpack for now, just to make it a little easier to move this guy, because he does have quite a bit of movement. starting from the head down, you got that much up, that much down. Not a whole lot in the head. It is on a double joint there, as you can hopefully see. So I'm sure with a bit of finagling it, you could get a little more up and down. The shoulders are independent. Arm moves out that far. Full rotation. And I noticed that when you're building it, it kind of has like this hinge mechanism for like a butterfly joint that you can combine with the one that's in there. I don't know what that is for, or if it's just the way it's built. Comment down below if you know. You do have a full 360 there. And the elbow bend, if you don't move the claws, there is not much there. Claws is what they are, essentially. That's about as much elbow bend if you don't move these. You move these, you get a little bit more. But I do wish that you could. And again, you can finagle it using different parts of its transformation and stuff to get it to bend even further, but it just looks awkward. You do have kind of a fake sword-wielding wrist. Wrist is on a ball joint, so you get all your ball joint needs. And he does have... He does kind of have an ab crunch. It's not exactly there. You can tell it's more there in the back, but we're going to go ahead and remove this so I can show y'all. These side skirts kind of have what the high new does, and I will get around to reviewing that at some point, where the side skirts have the ability to move out of the way, so you can get insanely high kicks out to the side. And you could probably, that's about as much as you get without moving that. And he does have a dropping waist, which is really nice too. I've noticed a lot of real grades now have that. So, on my copy, the waist, the side skirts, and the front skirts do have a tendency to fall off. You do have a little bit of back skirt movement, not a lot, but that's as much forward as you get without dropping it. Dropping the waist, that's as much back. Decent out to the side without. It's as much as you get. If you do end up dropping this waist like you're supposed to and not removing it, and actually kind of trying to work it to where it does, you do get a lot more forward, out, and back. Go ahead and remove this from here. You do have a joint here for rotation. It does not reach all the way around when connected, which does suck. You got about not quite a 90-degree knee bend, and you can kind of fake it using the transformation joint. So, you do have that. You do have toe down, foot up, toe up, and then a pretty decent ankle pivot, side to side. So that's basically it for its posability. Really, definitely not up to levels like the high new is, and I didn't ever expect that, especially because this is definitely much smaller than the high new. So, but it definitely can get in a lot of dynamic poses. The wings do have the flappy. They do rotate all the way around, as well as out, and each wing bit has its own separate joint piece of articulation. You can split it there, you have movement there, and then that joint splits, as well as this one here, this one here, and you can even this one here. So you can pull stuff off like this. I don't do that just because it does kind of weaken the stability of the wings a little bit, at least to me. So, yeah, it was definitely can get all your posing needs done, and includes a transformation that isn't finicky, at least on my copy. So let's get into that right now. So, we'll start with his accessories just because it's easier to get those configured first. Take the shield, and it's simple as flipping the connection piece down. Set that to the side. Remove the hand. Fold the beam rifle's handle up so you can get it tabbed in. to the underneath of the shield. And this is where it starts to have its main issues. Set that off to the side because you will no longer need it until final. Move the hands on both sides, and then you're going to want to fold down these claws about halfway, open this back panel, and then just maneuver the claws down like so. Take the shoulder armor, pull it out, and maneuver it down. And then bring this elbow all the way up. And then at this point, you can configure this much however you want. You can have it like so. I prefer it to have it up here, because you do have like a bird mode you can do, and I'm not going to show that just because it's kind of BS. I'm also going to remove the backpack, and you're going to want to do the same on the other side. Once you have that done, you're going to want to take the head, rotate it around, and the upper torso, for the most part, is done. Now, this is where it varies on who you talk to. Some people don't remove the upper torso, some people do. Removing it doesn't do anything other than the fact that you have a tab at the bottom of this ball joint that kind of locks everything in. And if you pull it out and rotate the body around, it doesn't change anything. It's just if you don't, you have to kind of pull it up a little bit to where you have a gap, then rotate it, then push it down. And then you have that all configured. Now onto the lower body. We're going to start by taking the toes and fold them down. I'm going to go ahead and bring these up so I can bring the leg up. Bend the knee at the first joint, then at the second, and bring this flap forward. Then then you're going to want to hold this here and pull this, well, I say that, you're going to want to kind of put it like so, and then just bend it, use that fake joint there, and then you're just going to bend it forward while pushing this forward, because that'll just kind of lock everything into place. And then on mine, if you don't have that happen, I like to put the front skirts inside that little opening there. It doesn't say to, at least I don't think it does. So that's more up to personal preference. We're going to go ahead and transform this one with the knee off so you can kind of see it a little better. You want to just grab it here and just kind of pull down. I'm going to do that again so you can see, just like so. Then you're going to want to bend the knee up till this flap is flush with the upper thigh, then push that forward. And that's all done. And again, I don't think it says to. I haven't looked at the instructions here recently. Just kind of make that aligned, and I keep the front skirts in there because it makes everything a little more tidy. Now for your final few steps. You're also going to want to pull that down. It's kind of its landing gear. Take the wings, kind of just flatten them out, like so. And it says to do this on the mobile suit, but you bring the wings out, and then kind of maneuver them down. Then take this shield, put it on top, and then if you decide to take it off like I did, just reattach everything like so. And there you go. Flight mode. And again, that's where it has its main issue, and this is where you're definitely going to want an action base, so that way you can have it flying around in the air, like so, like we saw in the beginning of the video. Let's try and get this brought up some. And that's basically it for the review. It's definitely a nice kit, and it is one I recommend for sure. So if you find it at your local hobby store, definitely pick it up if it's not ridiculously expensive. So I do recommend it. I also recommend the Real Grade 2.0, almost any Real Grade after the Unicorn. And even if you can, if you're careful, even the Unicorn mold. Whether it be the Banshee Norn, Perfectibility, Standard Banshee, just any copy. So, this is Last Disbelief signing off and telling you to have a great day.